Denver law requires that all Denver contracts include an audit clause. That is to say, contractors agree to be audited.
I think those dollars are just as important because they go to a different cookie jar, if you will. It doesn't diminish the importance of there being some kind of oversight.
Denver does business with outside organizations through contracts. The auditor can audit those contracts. Denver law requires that all Denver contracts include an audit clause. That is to say, contractors agree to be audited.
What we do are what I call contract compliance audits. Denver has a contract with a vendor to provide goods or services. That contract has an audit clause in it where we can go and look at the books and records of the contractor to make sure that Denver has received the quantity, the quality of the goods or services that were purchased.
The city charter requires the auditor to perform performance and financial audits. It's our obligation to complete those audits, including audits of third parties, through audit clauses.
It's really the contracting agency. It's their primary responsibility when they issue a contract that they are assuring that they're getting what they're contracting for. We are really a secondary line of defense for the taxpayer. The city has a contract with Rocky Mountain Human Services. They provide services to intellectually, developmentally disabled people. In that audit, we found that they were providing service to people that lived outside of Denver, that lived as far away as the Pacific Northwest, providing the staff with some unusual benefits that aren't normally found in the public sector or in the nonprofit sector. We found that their executive director was being paid roughly twice what other executive directors in the same metropolitan area were being paid for the same kind of position. As a result of the audit that we did in 2015, the city has really redrafted the contract that we have with Rocky Mountain Human Services, and we in 2019 will again audit that contract with Rocky Mountain Human Services to see that the organization is complying with the terms of that contract. Yeah, the preschool tax, it's a sales tax. It's dedicated to preschools. It goes to a nonprofit organization, but we will be looking at the expenditure of those tax dollars to be sure that they're being used appropriately. The preschool program, funded by a sales tax, is a good example of a program that we can follow the dollars outside of the government into a nonprofit organization to see that it's being spent appropriately. I think those dollars are just as important as the general fund dollars. They're all important dollars, they're taxpayer dollars, because they go to a different cookie jar, if you will. It doesn't diminish the importance of there being some kind of oversight, some verification that the program's operating as intended. On the auditor's website, you can find the audit plan for calendar year 2019. That will describe the audits that we're planning to do in this calendar year. Okay, well, that's it for this episode of Ask the Auditor. As always, you can share your questions with the auditor by submitting them to auditor@denvergov.org, and maybe the next episode of Ask the Auditor will answer your question.